I found 8 creators who were most relevant. They were typically in the entertainment genre, so I loaded it down to that category. And then I used the lexile analysis, which quantifies how complex vocabulary is in that sentence. I then put it through linear regression, looking at how these values change over time to see if there's any change and if there's a decrease or increase in the complexity of the sentence. On the top, you've got a straight line. That's the majority of the data. That demonstrates that there was not much significant change over time in the lexical complexity of YouTube videos from these 8 creators. These 8 creators, by the way, had 700 million combined subscribers, 200 billion combined views. They were very, very relevant creators. And you can see on the right at the top, the bubble chart, which shows the data points coalescing towards the bottom. That's part of why it's so stable. It coalesced at a 600 lexile level, which is about a 4th grade reading level, but it is stable. On the bottom, it's less significant, but that's a very significant grader who showed a lexical decrease. Unfortunately, the sample size is too small to say anything. So to conclude, there was not much significant change. That could be due to the fact that the entertainment category hasn't changed much over time. This remained largely gaming and skit related. However, more research is necessary on the broader level of YouTube to determine anything beyond the entertainment.
Yep.
Thank you. Hello everyone, my name is Sayville BOE. I'd like to thank you for giving me the opportunity to present my idea on English language learning and the correlation between academic success and English language proficiency among high school ELL students across the town of Iceland. So what are English language learners? They are a diverse group of students who do not speak English as their native language and are learning English as a second language. They are diverse in languages and need diverse academic and social needs. I was once an English language learner in elementary school. I was taking classroom time away from my peers to improve my English proficiency. This isn't a story of just mine, but over 5.3 million ELL students across the United States. This demonstrates around 10% of students in public schools. In Long Island, Meadow Road, we've seen an increased number of ELL students. In 2012 to 2013, there were around 27,000 ELL students. In the past year, we've seen over 43,000 ELL students in Long Island. After looking at available academic literature, I saw a gap in research. There were a few studies that looked at district-level data in suburban districts, and there were also lack of studies that looked at academic success among ELL students in grades 9 through 12. This led to my research question. What is the correlation between English proficiency and academic performance amongst high school ELL students from grades 9 to 12 within the town of Iceland? I hypothesized that there would be a positive correlation between ELL students, meaning higher English proficiency would be associated to higher academic grades. My methodology was strictly quantitative. This meant that I only looked at numbers. I used the Pearson's correlation to identify 3 things. I looked at English proficiency through NYSE SLAT scores to identify how proficient they were in English. Then I looked at academic grades from reading test scores from English, social studies, math, and science. Additionally, I defined academic success through the percentages of those students who graduated and those who received their English, their region diplomas. Out of the 11 districts across the town of Iceland, I was able to look at 6 districts that had over 5 ELLs in their respective high schools. I found that 3 districts had a positive correlation and 3 other districts had a negative correlation. What does this mean, and what is the significance? I found that in 3 school districts, I found a significance. For example, in school C, we could see that had a negative peak correlation, but we could also see a high graduation rate and a higher appraisal performance rate. Similarly, in school D, we see that there is a weak positive correlation, but then we could see low graduation rates and low Regents diploma rates. So what does this mean? I concluded that English proficiency isn't the only factor to the academic success of English language learning students, and there are many qualitative factors that need to be considered for the academic success of these students. Therefore, further research needs to be conducted to ensure that these students are receiving the academic successes that they need to be successful with their high school. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Julia Sack, and I did my presentation on the portrayal of abuse in psychological thriller novels. So, mental health is an ongoing concern in today's society. Many people suffer from mental illnesses such as anxiety, ADHD, OCD, and depression. The study of these illnesses is called psychopathology. Psychopathology is known as a mental disorder, especially when marked by egocentric and antisocial activity, a lack of remorse for one's actions, and an absence of empathy for others. We can see this portrayed in different forms of literature. These children are described with a developmental pathway of probabilistic behavior in certain kinds of children. Their path is called homotypic continuity, which is when maltreated children are more prone to follow the path of their abusive guardians. They have heightened brain plasticity, meaning the younger the age at which they are exposed, the more likely they continue this path. One way we can look at psychopathology is through literature. We see this through the horror genre. Different people have different reactions to watching things from this genre. There's suggested exposure to horror films can lead to abnormal stress or distress regulations requiring psychological or psychiatric intervention, a condition called cinematic neurosis. This correlates to the ability of children to adapt to different environments. While humans are young and impressionable, it is imperative that they are kept away from explicit content. However, some children are introduced to violence and verbal abuse at a very young age, which can lead to increased likelihood that these children will follow in these behaviors and develop mental illnesses. This led to my research question: in what ways do psychological abuse books found in multiple award-winning book lists published after 2015 correlate to the development of psychopathology in adults who are psychologically abused between the ages of 0 and 18? So I used a mixed method for this. I began with a content analysis of 10 different books, and then I used an F-test to sample for variance. I sorted the books into physical abuse, mental abuse, and relational abuse, and I annotated each for those. I then coded the books on a scale of 1 to 5, demonstrating the amount of abuse shown towards the characters. These are the results for each book. There were 10 books used, and they were coded for each different type of abuse. Those were the scores that each one received. In this, I found that there's patients with bipolar disorder or any other type of mental illness report high levels of child maltreatment with estimates as high as 57%. I correlated this 57% to the amount of abuse I found shown in the books. As you can see, the F critical one-tail value is above the average of 1.5, meaning that this shows that the book characters that were abused in books show the same level of abuse of children in real life and are actually relatable to these children. In conclusion, these are similar to the abusive events that happen to children in real life. It affects the 57% of children who are abused, and in reading these books, they're able to relate and find some sort of therapy within them. This is more frequent in younger children who receive neglect and malnourishment.
Surrounding challenges about how to approach coaching female athletes and why it is time for a change. Most training programs are still being modeled based on data based off male athletes, and that is a major problem. This idea is summed up in Dr. Stacey Sims' quote, "Women are not small men." Obviously, males and females have different anatomical makeups, which greatly impacts their athletic performance. However, in the field of sports science research, this difference is not reflected. As a result, training programs are based on data gathered from male athletes, and this leads to injury risks for female athletes. Overall, the existing research in the field investigates the physiology of males and females. Specifically, a study done by Christine Yu, a Harvard graduate and award-winning journalist, investigated how male data athletes is extrapolated to fit the needs of female athletes. According to Fabio Mancino, an orthopedic surgeon, and Neil McGrory, a physician, when there's a lack of gender-specific guidelines, ACL tears are more common and concussions are also imperative. This being the case, it is evident that there are clear differences that impact injury risks. However, the literature did not examine if the current training resources are updated to reflect a new contemporary understanding of female athletes. This gap in body of knowledge is where the specific parameters for my research started. This led to my guiding research question, which was, to what extent do training materials need to be updated to reflect a contemporary understanding on female athletes in order to maximize their performance? I chose a mixed methodology approach consisting of a content analysis and a correlational study. For the content analysis, I analyzed 7 commonly utilized coaching textbooks in the NISPA-mandated coaching certification courses. I gave each textbook an overall like grade of a Likert scale model of 1 to 5, with 5 being extensively covered and 1 being going into little or no detail on the specificities of coaching female athletes. For the correlational analysis, I utilized the survey method and investigated the population of high school coaches of female athletes on their opinions of how coaches have knowledge of female athletes. Almost all the textbooks analyzed received an overall grade of 2, with the exception of book 6, which received a grade of 1. This demonstrates that 100% of the textbooks analyzed did not meet the criteria for extensively covering the specificities of female athletes. This shows that the current material coaches are being trained on is lacking crucial information pertaining to female athletes. The questionnaire was completed by 98 participants. The average of all respondents was a 12 out of 21 points, which is a total of only 57% of the total possible points. In addition, only about 25% of the respondents scored in the highest range of a 16 to a 21 points. This demonstrates that coaches do not rate themselves on having a sufficient amount of knowledge on information pertaining to coaching female athletes and mitigating health risks. Based on the ANOVA statistical analysis I conducted, the calculated F statistic of about 16.65 was much larger than the F critical value of 3.94. In addition, the calculated p-value of 0.00093 is less than the significance level of 0.05. Overall, the results of the ANOVA statistical analysis provided strong evidence to conclude the training types does impact coaches' overall knowledge scores. In conclusion, coaches are currently lacking knowledge on how to train female athletes. This can be attributed both to a lack of adequate materials and a lack of female-specific courses taken. Administrators and coaches must take this information and apply it to allow for mandatory training in order to adapt coaching styles to better suit the needs of female athletes. These are my sources. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Sarah Stewart, and today I'll be presenting to you my AP research project, which is on the impact of the Every Student Succeed Act on students with success in New York State schools. This is the agenda for today's presentation. To start off, it is crucial to understand the history behind the implementation of various federal reform acts, which all share the common goal of improving education system at a federal level. In 1968, Lyndon B. Johnson signed into place the Elementary and Secondary Education Act, which had the main goal of providing funding to low-income schools. However, in 2002, this act was replaced, which changed the federal education system to focusing more on standardized assessments and then providing funding for schools who did not meet the annual yearly standard. However, as a result of controversy due to the No Child Left Behind Act, as many felt like the roots of the problems caused by No Child Left Behind were actually roots called poverty. This caused for a need for change in 2018, where the Every Student Succeeds Act was implemented, which provided funding for all schools based on their own flexible assessments, and prohibited federal offices from mandating state standards, and required states to measure individual student progress and prohibit the use of subgroups. Prior to No Child Left Behind being implemented as a federal law, in 2002, there was minimal change being made to New York State. Previously, New York State did not have as much federal funding. However, when No Child Left Behind was put in place, $1.8 billion were allocated to New York State schools in order to fix the education system. In addition, No Child Left Behind did not change the New York State Alternative Assessment, which was an assessment given to kids who had cognitive disabilities to determine whether or not they were eligible for the state criteria. However, in 2018, when Every Student Succeeds was implemented, this changed the way that schools were ranked. In a comparison to the previous rate based on standardized test scores, the Every Student Succeed Act changed the way schools were ranked, focusing on external benchmarks instead of internal goals. As this research aimed to figure out the impact of the Every Student Succeed Act on student school success in New York State schools, this leads to my research question: to what extent does the pressure of the Federal Reform Act for New York State teachers to create a high quality and equal educational experience impact student school success in New York State? This question comes from a gap in existing literature where extensive research was conducted on the impact of Every Student Succeed on social and emotional learning skills. In addition, many of these studies were conducted in states such as California, and they only focused on high school students. In order to analyze the correlation between Every Student Succeed and student success rates, I used the data qualitatively from the New York State Department of Education website and was able to analyze student test scores on the New York State 3 through 8 ELA exams, the New York State 3 through 8 math exams, and students' graduation rates. The quantitative part of this analysis was done on a website called SPSS, where I used a bootstrap bias analysis, where I was able to conduct an analysis to see whether or not there was a positive or negative correlation between implementation of Every Student Succeed and student school success. When these results came out, this was what the chart looked like. In order to prove a positive correlation, you want the bootstrap bias to be as close to zero as possible. This was the result of the New York State 3 through 8 ELA assessments. As you can see, in 2018, which is the year Every Student Succeed was implemented, the bootstrap bias was zero. You can see in 2017 and 2019, the results were 0.000, but it's important to note that that's not an absolute zero. The same results were found when I conducted the research on the New York State 3 through 8 math assessments. However, when I looked at the graduation rates, I was not able to conduct a bootstrap bias, as not all schools were reporting their graduation rates, and although that could lead to a decrease in funding, some schools would still choose to not report this. Instead, I used a Pearson correlation research, and in order for a correlation, you want the Pearson correlation coefficient to be as close to 1 as possible. And as you can see, in 2018, the Pearson correlation coefficient was exactly 1, showing a positive correlation. As my project aimed to analyze the impact of Every Student Succeed and its effectiveness and how it impacts student school success in New York State, through this research, I was able to find a positive correlation between Every Student Succeed and New York State 3 through 8 math assessments, New York State 3 through 8 ELA assessments, and graduation rates. All this research can lead to new information for researchers in the field of studying and enhance the educational field in New York State. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much for your presentations. That was just a sample of the other 25 projects that we've done in the AP research. And if you wonder, what do we do in that class? They learn to speak, they learn to articulate, they learn to research, and it's quite impressive. Any comments or questions from the board?
There's
Does that work?
we can't put them all at the same time.
Yeah, I just had a couple of comments. Before I was on the board, I would come to board meetings for the previous 2 years. This was always my favorite day because I just love learning and I love, analysis and numbers and the type of things that you got, the type of research that you guys were doing. So I just took a couple of notes. You don't ever have to answer these questions again, but it's just to show you that, I was paying attention and fascinated by the things that you did. The one thing that I thought in Wesley's was, and you don't have to answer this again, but I'm wondering is the end result of that research to find out if there's a correlation between the level of education that people receive. Where is it? Oh, sorry, Wesley. Because that's what I was thinking as you were going through it, especially with the numbers, the age numbers being 18 to 29. If there was any relation between the level of education people received and the complexity of the lexile levels in the YouTube videos that were being shown. I was wondering if there was a correlation there because it seemed like there would be, and I thought that would be like a really cool extension of that research because that was actually fascinating and the world runs on algorithms now. So I thought that was a really smart topic to choose because it's so relevant. So that was just a question I had. You don't have to answer it, but that was what I was writing down. But I was fascinated by your research, so I thought you did a great job. Saida, well, I love your name, first of all. And I thought that your topic is so prevalent today. For example, I have a 5th grader who is Muslim and had to fast all day today. And, so I'm thinking in my head, like, wow, that really has to impact her learning because she's not eating, everyone's eating around her. And, just little things like that. I do, with your research, there was one thing that I was curious about is the cultural norms of different cultures. So how that impacts, that's a huge variable. And if that impacted at all, for example, one town could have a high Spanish population, Spanish-speaking population, another one could have a high Polish speaking population. Do the cultural norms impact the variables there? Again, I'm just talking to talk, sorry. But I was fascinated by yours. I thought very prevalent in today's society and so impressive. Julia, yours was fascinating because I love to read thrillers like that, horror thrillers like that. I was wondering if I don't know if this is the right word, but the fact that children are so desensitized to horror and violence now due to, if that played any role in your research, or if you came across that and thought that maybe if you took your research and compared it to something maybe 40 years ago, that you would see drastic numbers. That was the first thing that jumped off, but I was almost embarrassed to say that I read 5 of those books up there when it flashed up. That's why I was so thankful that you got it off the screen quick. And Mackenzie, I did have one question. It was training versus coaching, but then I realized that you were talking about, when you were saying coaching, you were talking about the physiology of females and how practices should actually be geared towards them anatomically, right? So once I picked up on that, again, fascinated by that. That really means a lot to me as a coach. I thought that was awesome. And Sarah, when I saw yours, my immediate thing was how in those years, teachers began teaching to the test. And that had to be a huge variable, especially as you go through Nickleby and you go through what every student succeed at, there's this pressure then to perform because like you said, federal dollars, right? Every dollar counts for us, that you find teachers teaching to the test. So as those scores are going up, is our genuine teaching going down? So I thought that would be something interesting to look into. So, but again, I don't want to monopolize everybody's time, but I just love this day, and so I appreciate all of your hard work. Thank you. Good job.
Desmond, thank you for your presentation. Real quick, great job. I too look forward to this day. So interesting. Sayville has an amazing group of students. I'm always super excited to hear the presentations in the different subject areas that everyone is working on. So thank you for your time. And I know it's a lot of work. Just keep at it. It's going to take you far. Thank you.
I just want to say that, yes, I obviously agree. It's so fascinating. It's a privilege to see the amount of work, effort, and the time that you put in, and then to have you present it to us. And I just love how every single one of you chose something that was not only important to you, but also had an effect on your life. I think that was really evident. And every one of you walked away, I think, with more questions than you walked into. And that's the beauty of research, is that you have a basis now, and then where else do you want to go? I think your personal journey, Azia, with the ESL is so important. And that we see those numbers rising, the number of people who come in with second language learning. And that's not just about not knowing the language, but anecdotally, what the environment, the student, your support system, and lots of questions about where do we direct the money and the support to make sure that all EL learners can succeed. And I, as a mother of two daughter athletes, one who's taught both ACLs, this conversation about female athletes and how they're not the same as men is so important, and it's so obvious that there needs to be more research, so there's more money, so there's better education, so there's better training, so the coaches get the information that they need. So I appreciate all of what you did, and those really hit home. Thanks.
Mine's very short. I just want to say you are an impressive group, and I'm very proud that we have students like you at Sayville. Thank you.
I just wanted to almost ask a rhetorical question for you in the audience. Who of you understood more than 50% of it? I mean, you're smarter than us, and that's really like the dream. I think about growing up in the school I attended as a kid here and say, well, it's like a radically different high school. And I think your pursuit of excellence, I think it kind of animates the entire academic environment. And I just feel like we've come a long way. And I just am really proud of you guys. You're kind of, again, you're showing us what excellence looks like. And that's really helpful to our own growth. Thank you.
I know firsthand how much time and effort goes into that. Kudos to you. And how wonderful that you get to do all of this research on something that you're passionate about, right? Awesome.
There's nothing left to be said, so I'll hand it over to you. Item on the agenda. Right, so we're seeing a progression. We're going from students, and now we're going to, watching bright students do wonderful things, to now celebrating some adults who have done some wonderful things. So at this time, we're going to transition into the recognition of our retirements. People have dedicated their careers to the Sayville schools. We are so proud of these people. We want to honor them with great applause. So I'm going to start with the retirees from Cherry Avenue Elementary and Dr. Ein. And those retirees, please come down to the microphone area.
Good evening. Today is certainly the week for Cherry Avenue. We have four very lovely and special ladies with us tonight to honor and celebrate the fourth day. So I'm going to start with Ms. Connie Rose. Ms. Rose, in the Food and Nutrition Department of Cherry Avenue, is a very impressive company for 31 years. Our students were always greeted by name and with a smile, and I can attest firsthand that Colleen knew every student by name, and you probably also knew their codes, because I think you were quicker than many of our kindergartners and you had them memorized. Absolutely genius. You went out of your way to make sure their needs were met nutritionally and well beyond. Ms. Rose retired in December, and although we miss seeing her every day in the kitchen, we are thrilled that she is a substitute lunch monitor. Congratulations on your retirement, and enjoy the special time with your husband, your kids, your 4 beautiful grandchildren, and your really cool hobby metal detecting with your dad from the beach. Mrs. Teresa Lotito has served as the Cherry Avenue nurse. She has and continues to take great care of all who pass through her office, including us adults. She is calm, thorough, knowledgeable, and compassionate, all the things that make her an amazing and beloved nurse. Ms. Lotino and I weathered the storm through COVID. We got quite close, where we spent tireless hours, including Christmas, New Year's, weekends, late nights, contact tracing, acting like we were the Department of Health, and making sure we were in compliance with all of the COVID protocol. Lucky for me, I had her by my side, because I couldn't imagine her wanting anyone else in that capacity to work with me. Thank you for being such a tremendous asset to all. Wishing you a healthy, fun, happy retirement in Pennsylvania. We're happy that you and Tony will now be around the corner from AJ, where I'm sure he'll be enjoying food from home again. Congratulations.
I just want to add one does she help the kids with injuries, but I play kickball with the kids and I pop my quad. In ice pack. So one, I want to confirm your hand, I know you need them. But two, not only help the kids, you also give us a medical care system.
This is Carolyn Liberty. For the past 17 years, Carolyn worked as a teacher aide, whether it was providing one-on-one support or in her current role, nurturing our youngest learners as a preschool aide. She has a natural gift for working with children, knowing how to reach them, support them, and lift them up. Her calm demeanor and deep compassion has made her a source of comfort and confidence for so many students and a rock for her colleagues. And I have to also say that anytime one of us had to sub in UPK, it was absolutely reassuring to have Carolyn there because she ran the entire show and then some. So thank you for that, Carolyn. But we hope that you enjoy spending more time with your family, your adorable grandchildren are so lucky to have you as their babysitter. We're going to have a little mom school set up for them. And of course, I'm wishing you many sunny beach days ahead. Thank you for your service. Mrs. Fiore. Try to do this. Ms. Fiore began her career at Sayville as a sub-monitor, TA and clerical back in 1998 before quickly moving into a teacher in position role at Lincoln Avenue and then at Sunrise Drive. In 2006, Ms. Fiore transitioned into the attendance aide position at Cherry Avenue, which lasted for 14 years. To this day, Ms. Fiore knows Infinite Campus like the back of her hand, and we all rely on her for quick assistance and for her to come to the rescue in more ways than one. Ms. Fiore moved up into the 10-month office position in 2020, and it was a flawless transition. She's extraordinary. One of the most organized women I know, with the sharpest memory, loyal like no other, committed, dedicated, and simply classy all around. This is a huge loss for Cherry Avenue, for me both personally and professionally. When I began the Cherry Avenue principalship almost 13 years ago, Ms. Fiore immediately took me under her wing, helping me to transition into a new culture. I will always be grateful for that support, love, and friendship. Doreen, there are not enough words to express the gratitude that I especially have for you. May your retirement be filled with happy and healthy years ahead. Enjoy spending more time with your mom, your amazing granddaughter Emily, traveling, and including your upcoming trip to Italy.
Now we'd like to invite Mr. Dominic Armana and the retiring staff of Lincoln Avenue Elementary School.
Good evening, everyone. We have a head custodian, Mr. Martin, retiring, Craig Martin. He's actually not here tonight. We're at his retirement party at Sayville BOE at the same time. But I do have a few words that I do want to share about Craig. Tonight we celebrate a man who has spent the past 31 years working to support the students in the Sayville School District, Mr. Craig Martin. For the last 3 decades, Craig has been the heartbeat of Lincoln Avenue, serving as a head custodian. In that role, he has kept Lincoln Avenue spotless, safe, and running smoothly, often with tools in one hand and a smile in the other. But the truth is, Craig has been so much more than a custodian. He's been a mentor, a storyteller, and at times a bit of a prankster. but most of all, a friend. I always look forward to those conversations because when Craig tells a story, you're not just listening, you're learning, you're laughing, and you're connecting with the deep roots of the school and the community. And speaking of laughing, let me tell you, Craig knows how to have fun. It's one of our core values at Lincoln. We work hard and we laugh hard. Whether he's dressing up for spirit days, chatting with kids in the hallway, or most recently, leaving a stuffed rat at my usual morning entrance to give me a good scare, Craig brings joy into this building. And while I may never forgive him for that particular prank, I also know moments like that are irreplaceable. That's the thing about Craig. He's irreplaceable. You can hire someone to fill a job, but you can't replace the spirit he brought into it. The kindness, the pride, the jokes, the care. Craig cares deeply, not just about the school, but about the people in it. He cares about the kids, the teachers, the families, the community, and that's something you can't teach. That's just who he is. As Craig moves into retirement, I imagine there will be a few fewer hallway chats, a few fewer stories, and thankfully a few fewer stuffed rats. But what won't change is this. Craig will always be part of Lincoln Avenue family. Craig, I know you're not here, but thank you for everything. You've left your mark on the school, the district, and all of us lucky enough to work with you. We're going to miss you terribly, but we know that wherever life takes you next, it'll be a little bit brighter because you're there. Congratulations, Craig.
Dr. Floyd, and some last time, elementary staff will be retired.
Good evening, everyone. Unfortunately, I know that two of our retirees are not going to be able to be here, but they deserve their accolades and well-deserved congratulations. So our first retiree from Sunrise Drive in Sayville Public School is Eileen Lothior. It's with a bittersweet heart that we gather today to celebrate the retirement of an extraordinary individual, Eileen Lothior. While we're sad to see her go, we're also incredibly grateful for the countless ways that she's enriched Sayville Public Schools, especially here at Sunrise Drive. Many of you know Eileen from her daily presence behind the lunch counter, but her journey with Sayville began long before she graced our halls. She started as a substitute, and by September of 2002, she secured a permanent position, beginning her dedicated service in the middle school. Then, in September of 2019, she made the wonderful move to Sunrise Drive, and it's been a blessing ever since. Eileen, you've done so much more than simply serve a healthy lunch. You've been a beacon of positivity, ensuring our students are not only well-fed, but also happy and learning their manners along the way. Your dedication to their well-being is truly remarkable. We've all witnessed your unwavering commitment to meeting student allergy needs, going above and beyond to ensure every child has a full and safe meal. It's that kind of thoughtful care that makes you so special. You're a force of good in our school culture, someone who students eagerly look forward to seeing each day. Your warm smile, friendly demeanor brighten their lunch periods, making the cafeteria a place of comfort and joy. Beyond lunches, you've been instrumental in establishing and supervising our breakfast program over the years, ensuring students start their day with a full stomach and a good start. Eileen, you're a dedicated, warm-hearted person, and we are beyond grateful to have worked beside you. The impact that you have had on generations of Sayville students is immeasurable. Your legacy will live on in the well-fed, well-mannered, and happy children who have passed through our lunch lines. On behalf of the entire Sayville Public Schools community, especially everyone here also at Sunrise Drive, thank you, Eileen, for your unwavering dedication, your boundless kindness, and your incredible spirit. We wish you a retirement filled with joy, relaxation, and all the wonderful things you deserve. You will be deeply missed. Another friend that can be here tonight, I hope she's watching as well, is Dawn Marshall. What an absolute privilege it is to stand here tonight to celebrate the retirement of an extraordinary individual, Dawn Marshall. For years, Dawn poured her heart and soul into her profession as a teacher aide here at Sunrise Drive in Sayville Public Schools, and her impact on students and staff is immeasurable. Dawn had this incredible ability to help students become their absolute best selves. She was a master of putting plans of action into place, always so calculated and precise. Her data collection, second to none. She knew exactly how to track progress and adjust strategies to ensure every child succeeded. Beyond her remarkable skills, Dawn was fiercely loyal to her colleagues, to our teachers, and to administration. She was a true rock in our community. Personally, I learned so much just by observing Dawn in her final year with us. She showed me you don't always need words to communicate with children. All it truly takes is consistency and genuine care. It was nothing short of amazing to witness the progress in communication and positive behaviors under Dawn's unwavering support and dedication. Dawn often worked in some of the toughest roles we have at Sunrise Drive, especially over the last 9 years that I can speak to. I'm sure she faced her share of challenging days, but you never would have known it. She always maintained such a positive and friendly disposition, a testament to her incredible professionalism. Dawn, you're a true professional in every sense of the word. Your dedication to students and this school has left an indelible mark. We are forever grateful for your tireless efforts and the profound difference you've made in so many lives. As you embark on this new chapter, we wish you a retirement filled with immense joy, well-deserved rest, and all the happiness the world has to offer. Thank you, Dawn, for everything, and congratulations. Michelle. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here today to celebrate the remarkable career of Michelle Amy. For years, Michelle has been an indispensable part of the Sunrise Drive family, and while we're thrilled for her next chapter, it's hard to imagine the school without her. Michelle has worn many hats during her time here, serving as a one-to-one, shared, and program aides. No matter the role, her dedication to our students, especially those in most need, has been unwavering. She stops at nothing to ensure every child is well cared for and finding success. It's truly inspiring. You know, Michelle has this incredible calming presence. She just has a way of making everyone feel at ease, and it's her ability to learn strategies on a daily basis to help our students thrive. It's simply phenomenal. Beyond her work with students, Michelle's a true teammate and friend to her colleagues. How many of us have benefited from her insightful advice or just knack for problem solving on the fly? She's always there, ready to lend an ear or a helping hand. Her tact, composure, and consistency, especially in her leadership roles, have been invaluable. And let's not forget her vital role in our kindergarten screenings. For years, Michelle has been the first friendly face of many of our new students and their families that they encounter. She ensures that they feel cared for and valued from the moment they step through our doors. That's how you build a strong foundation for students' entire school journey. Michelle, you touched countless lives at Sunrise Drive, students, teachers, and staff alike. Your impact will be felt for years to come. We're so grateful for your passion, your dedication, and your incredible heart. On behalf of everyone at Sunrise Drive, we wish you a retirement filled with joy, relaxation, and all the wonderful adventures you deserve. You've earned it. Congratulations, Michelle. I always do a little tradition. I want to bring to mind that at Sunrise Drive, our beloved mascot is a duck. Ducks fly together in a beautiful, strong formation. They instinctively know that by sticking together, they are far better than they would ever have been alone. Here at Sunrise Drive, we always say, it's a family. Just like our mascot, our school demonstrates a remarkable cohesiveness, always showing concern for the welfare of every member of our flock. To our retiring teachers, please remember this. Once a Sunrise Duck, always a Sunrise Duck. You are, always will be a cherished part of our family.
Thank you, and good evening, everyone. Congratulations to all of our retirees. We have actually 3 retirements at the middle school, 2 of which unfortunately couldn't be here here tonight. They were traveling for a long weekend, but I want to take a moment to recognize them and their service to the middle school. The first is actually one of our permanent substitutes, and that is Lillian Schweiker, who in various capacities has served the students and families and staff of Sayville for 20 years, and most recently as a permanent substitute teacher at the middle school. Being a permanent sub is a very unique and often unsung role in school. It requires a blend of flexibility, of patience, of love, of learning. Lillian has a calm in the storm demeanor and a steady hand when any teacher is away from their classroom. She did all of this while being a math teacher on Monday, an art teacher on Wednesday, and a PE teacher on Friday. She knows our learners, she knows our teachers' routines, and she always kept the wheels of our classrooms turning. So Lillian, on behalf of a grateful school community, we extend our thanks, and we wish you a very long, happy, and healthy retirement. I believe in all of the retirements, the next, our math teacher, Ms. Linscott, is the one full-time teacher that is retiring from the district this year. Kelly Linscott has served the students and families of Sayville for 24 years as a math teacher. She has inspired countless students to conquer fractions, decimals, decoding algebra, and the very difficult job of getting kids to fall in love with numbers. She is dedicated to growth and learning, and she's always exploring and trying out innovative teaching and learning strategies for our students. But Kelly's impact extends much further beyond the classroom. One of her most defining qualities is her fierce and her passionate advocacy for the acceptance of all students for who they are. She has created an environment where all feel seen, they feel valued, and know they are respected. Kelly embodied inclusivity before it was a mantra. Kelly, your dedication, your innovation, your commitment to our students has left a mark here in Sayville. You not only taught math, but you also taught kindness, acceptance, and the importance of everyone being true to oneself. We thank you, we wish you joy, relaxation, and many new adventures in your life. Congratulations. And Mrs. Martha has served the students and families of Sayville for 25 years. Many of us now know her for her invaluable work in our library, where she has been a steadfast presence for our students and our staff. Her dedication has kept our library running smoothly and a vital hub for learning and for exploration for our learners. But what truly sets Martha apart is her incredible ability to connect with students on a much deeper level. For so many kids over the years, she has become a go-to person. Often, for some of our struggling learners, they found safety in Martha. Her calm demeanor, her understanding nature, and her genuine and true care created a soft landing place for so many students over the years. Martha's unwavering support and compassionate heart have made a lasting impact on our school community. And on behalf of the grateful school community, I congratulate you. I wish you a long, very happy, and very healthy retirement. Congratulations.
time, I'd like to invite the high school principal, Ms. Bricker, and the high school retiring staff members.
Thank you, Dr. Ferris. To the class five coming up here. Sorry, I got a lot of things here. Thank you, Ms. Macros. Mr. Hart's going to assist. This is a tough group to say goodbye to, so bear with me. I will try not to get emotional as I did you all farewell. I'm going to start with Kathleen Keenan in recognition for her outstanding and unwavering service to the Sayville School District. We proudly honor Ms. Kathleen Keenan's remarkable career and lasting contributions to our school community. She began her journey in the district in 2001 as a clerk typist at Sunrise Drive Library, later bringing her dedication and reliability to the Sayville High School main office. Since 2014, she has served as the senior office assistant in our guidance suite, where her presence has been nothing short of essential. Throughout her career, Ms. Keenan has distinguished herself with a steady hand, unshakable resolve, tremendous compassion, and a sense of humor that lifted the spirits of everyone around her. She has tackled the complex task of coordinating college visits and organizing our community scholarship program with grit, efficiency, and heart, making a real difference in the lives of our students and their families. She is known not just for how much she accomplished, but for how deeply she cared. She leaves behind a legacy of strength, dependability, and quiet leadership that will not be forgotten. With sincere appreciation and respect, we thank Ms. Keenan for her years of service and wish her all the best in her well-earned retirement. Thank you. Right, next, Joanne. Don't look. Okay. Since beginning her career as a teacher aide at Sunrise Drive in 1997 and continuing at Sayville High School from 2003 onward, Ms. Joanne Ward has been a steady hand in every classroom she has served. An adaptable and caring child advocate, she has handled even the most difficult situations with grit, composure, and a very sharp sense of humor. Ms. Corp has built strong trust and connections with students who feel comfortable turning to her for support and guidance, while also holding them accountable with fairness and consistency. Her can-do attitude means she consistently manages whatever challenges come her way, always standing up for students, and earning the respect and admiration of staff, families, and students alike. Equally valued by her colleagues, Ms. Corp has been a supportive and collaborative team member, fostering a positive and respectful work environment with her genuine collegiality and kindness. Her ability to lighten the mood with a laugh while maintaining a solid commitment to education has made her an indispensable part of our community. We will not be the same without Ms. Corp's steady presence, fierce dedication, and warm friendship. Her legacy of strength, compassion, and resilience will continue to inspire all who have had the privilege to work alongside her. Thank you. All right, Ms. Laundrie.
Love you, Mom.
With sincere gratitude, we honor Ms. Beth Laundrie for her dedicated service and commitment to the Sayville School District. From her earliest days in 1992 as a monitor and later as a teacher aide at Cherry Avenue, to her time as a clerk typist supporting department chairperson, and most recently as an office assistant in the attendance office, Ms. Laundrie has been a steady and compassionate presence in every role she has held. More than a colleague, she has been a trusted confidant to students and staff alike, with quiet strength, deep empathy, and unshakable calm. She has handled each call, question, and crisis with grace and poise. In moments of stress or uncertainty, Ms. Laundrie has been the one to quiet the storm, offering a shoulder to lean on and a voice of reassurance when it was needed most. Her empathy, professionalism, and calm confidence have left a lasting imprint on the school community. She will be deeply missed for her kindness, steady presence, and the warmth she brought to every corner of the building. We thank Ms. Laundrie for her years of devoted service and for all she has given to the students, staff, and families of Sayville. She leaves with our deepest gratitude and warmest wishes for a fulfilling and joyful retirement. Thank you. Ready? All right. Okay. Ms. Mary Ann Ross. With heartfelt appreciation, we recognize the dedicated and impactful service of Ms. Mary Ann Ross to the Sayville School District. Beginning her career as a substitute teacher aide and monitor at Lincoln Avenue, she brought energy, care, and a deep commitment. To students that only grew stronger through her time as a monitor and teacher aide in classrooms at Sayville High School, and most recently in the high school library. Ms. Russ is known for her tireless work ethic, kindness, and determination. She never turned away from a challenge and always found a way to make things happen. Whether in quiet moments or during hectic times, she consistently put students first, moving through each day with purpose, compassion, and an unshakable drive to support those around her. Students would start and end their day with Ms. Russ in the library, knowing they would be met with warmth, attentiveness, and a focus on what truly mattered. Her fast-paced, sharp instincts, and steady presence helped create a sense of consistency and care that both students and staff came to rely on. As she retired, we will miss her quiet leadership, generosity of spirit, and in many ways, she made our school a better place every day. We thank Ms. Russ for her years of outstanding service and for leaving behind a legacy built on dedication, action, and heart. Thank you. And last, but certainly not least, Ms. Patty Boyer. With deep appreciation, we recognize Ms. Patty Boyak's many years of devoted service to the Sayville School District and the lasting difference she has made in the lives of students and staff across our schools. Her journey as a teacher aide began in 1995 and has taken her through almost every building in our school district. Cherry Avenue, Lincoln Avenue, Sunrise Drive, and since 2016, Sayville High School. Each community has benefited from her kindness, reliability, and thoughtful support. Ms. Boyak has approached every challenge with grace and compassion, offering steady guidance and care to those who needed it most. Her ability to meet each student exactly where they are, without judgment, with patience, and with support has been the foundation of her work and the reason so many students have thrived under her care. Reliable, kind, and always present, she has built trust across generations of students and staff. She showed up day after day, ready to help, ready to listen, and ready to make a difference. As she closes this chapter, Ms. Boyak leaves a legacy carried forward in the lives she has touched. The quiet strength she has modeled, and the warmth she brought into every room. She will be missed more than words can express. Thank you.
One, two, three.
And finally, last but not least, Special Education Central Office, retiring staff, please come down to receive your recognition.
Sharon Lynn has been a dedicated employee of the Sayville School District for over 29 years. She has served as a senior office assistant in both the special education office and the business office. In reality, Sharon juggles multiple roles and duties beyond what is expected of her. Some days she does both roles. Her exceptional organizational skills and meticulous attention to detail have supported us through many transitions over the years. Although she officially retired last December, her dedication still shines through as she continues to offer her invaluable expertise and support to the special education office. Sharon, you left a permanent impression on our department and our district. Your dedication, your warmth, your tireless efforts, your jokes, your support have made a real difference in the lives of our students, our families, our staff, and students. While we miss seeing you every day, we're incredibly grateful for your continued support and constant encouragement. We wish you all the best in your new full-time role as grandma, and hope your days are filled with joy, relaxation, and all the happiness that you deserve.
Yes, I would just like to read the resolution. Whereas these individuals have served Sayville School and the students of Sayville School Public Schools for a combined of 435 years. Their duties have always been discharged in a commendable manner with loyalty and distinction. And now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Education recognizes these individuals for their dedicated performances and hereby express the gratitude of its members on behalf of the community. And further, the Board of Education hereby instructs the school district clerk to place a copy of these resolutions upon the minutes of this meeting as a public record. And I would like to say thank you for your service. Thank you very much.
You will all be appreciated for what you've never known. Congratulations. Look forward to hearing about the wonderful next stories. And with that, it's a transition, because now we're going to celebrate those teachers that are receiving tenure. And the kind of sweetness of this is that those of you who are in the audience, tenure for us is our district's commitment to you for a lifetime of service. And we don't take that lightly. When we have our meetings about tenure, we say, is this teacher value added to our students? Is this teacher lights out in the classroom? Does this teacher care about the kids more than their own self? And if the answer is yes to those questions, and they have an impact on our students, then only then do we offer such a grand gesture of tenure, which is a lifetime of service to the schools. So it's my pleasure to put forward the principals who will recommend for tenure these teachers to give.
I just wanted to make a comment and just express my own gratitude to you. When you hear these words, especially, it hits home for me, especially as when you hear somebody about they're working in the cafeteria, working as a custodian, they're working as a clerical, they're working as a TA. I work with a number of TAs. People like that, it hits home for me because they're not paid very well. You know, but what we all want in life is to have meaning and purpose and to feel like you're doing something important. And the people that we heard about today, the way they chose to spend their lives is so important and impactful. I just really am proud of this community when I hear about people like you, think about the way that you serve, you know, your colleagues, our children. It's really inspirational to me because, again, you're not doing it for a financial reward. You're doing it out of love. And to have that, to have our kids in environments like that, and colleagues in that, I'm just immensely grateful that such people live and chose to work in this community serving us. It's really an honor to know you. I want to express my own note of gratitude and thanks for what you do. Thank you.
The people who will be serving the next 30 years in our schools, our high school principal will return and offer her tenure recommendations. I can do that first, sure. In addition to teachers who will be up for tenure, we also have an administrator up for tenure tonight, so it'll be my honor to speak. Any order of this will be done. It's an honor to celebrate a truly remarkable individual who's made an indelible impact on our school community. Dr. Ryan Cox, please come on down. Prior to becoming an administrator in the Sayville school, Dr. Cox was an administrator in another school district, but prior to that, was a teacher in our school for over 2 decades. Also lives in the community and is really connected to our community as a committed member of Sayville town. As Director of Athletics, Health, and Physical Education, Dr. Cox embodies everything we could hope for in a leader. He is hardworking, tirelessly dedicated himself to ensuring that every program and every student athlete thrives. He is caring, and he cares about every single student in our programs in a wide variety of ways. He prioritizes their health, their well-being, and their growth as students, focusing not just on wins and losses, but on educating students on what it means to be successful competitors in sports and successful people in life. Ryan is also incredibly focused with a clear vision for Sayville athletics, consistently striving for excellence. His unwavering commitment to the success of our students and programs is evident daily, even today, in this Tenure field, where our varsity baseball team won the Long Island Championship against Washington. And while I just mentioned that he is not exclusively focused on win-loss record, boy, do we have a truly impressive win-loss record with his leadership. County championships, state championships, Long Island championships in all sports for boys and girls across the district is quite impressive. As such, Dr. Cox is truly leading our athletic department during a golden age for the Golden Flashes. Furthermore, we consider Ryan a wonderful person, a great colleague, and a friend to all of the Sayville community. Dr. Cox, on behalf of the Sayville schools, congratulations on this well-deserved tenure milestone. We are incredibly fortunate to have you in your leadership. We look forward to many more years of exceptional work. Dr. Cox started as an administrator in the district in the same year. And we went to the first football game together, and we talked about his baseball background. We actually did a baseball video together during the first year, opening the school year. And I was thinking about, like, everyone's getting a gift of some kind. What can I give to Dr. Cox? So I've had on my shelf since 2005 this baseball, which I got at a San Diego Padres game when Ken Caminetti, the baseball, hit a scorching line drive directly at the sun's head. And my instinct was to hold my hand out and catch it, and I broke the hand, so I saved my son. But it's been sitting on my shelf for a while, and memory is valuable to me. Ryan is valuable to me. So we gave you a statement here. Congratulations on your tenure July 1st, 2025. The school has been signed by all the administrators who are present and our cabinet team. We just want to thank you for your great work that you've been doing. We use that to draw the state championship first pitch in a couple of days. All right, now we have our high school principal returning, Ms. Bricker, to do her tenure.
Thank you, Dr. Harris. Okay, so I'd like to call up Jessica Chardulo, Hannah Michelson, and Lucy. So I'm going to start with Jess Cardulo. Come on. It is my distinct honor to celebrate Ms. Jessica Chardulo as she receives tenure in CPS as a social worker. Ms. Chardulo has demonstrated exceptional adaptability in her role, providing seamless, compassionate support across elementary, middle, and high school settings. Her ability to meet the unique developmental and emotional needs of students at every level is a testament to her insight, empathy, and deep professional expertise. With a strong foundation in mental health and wellness, Ms. Chardulo serves as both a counselor and a connector, bridging students and families to the resources they need. She has cultivated restorative, calming spaces within our schools, offering students the opportunity to de-stress, reset, and reconnect in what many have come to know as Zen zones, spaces where calm, mindfulness, and emotional clarity are encouraged and embraced. Beyond her day-to-day responsibilities, Ms. Chardulo consistently goes above and beyond to enrich the broader school community. She has brought inspirational speakers into the district to spark meaningful conversations around resilience, identity, and mental health. We extend our heartfelt gratitude to Ms. Chardulo for her leadership, creativity, and unwavering dedication to the social, emotional well-being of every student she serves. We look forward to her continued impact in the years ahead, and we are proud to honor this important milestone in her career. Congratulations, Ms. Chardulo. We are honored to recognize Ms. Hannah Michelson as she receives tenure in the area of business. Ms. Michelson is a deeply caring and innovative educator who consistently brings the world of business to life. She excels in designing engaging, dynamic lessons aligned with clear objectives, empowering students to understand complex concepts and their real-world applications. Her profound strength lies in her commitment to fostering positive student relationships. She diligently builds trust and rapport, creating a supportive classroom where students feel secure to take intellectual risks and fully engage with the material. Dedicated to her students as learners, Ms. Michelson is a model of continuous improvement, constantly refining her instructional techniques, seeking professional development, and collaborating with colleagues to provide the most effective, student-centered learning experience. Beyond the classroom, her contributions are exemplary. As FBLA advisor, she cultivates leadership and guides students in competitions, and as yearbook co-advisor, she fosters creativity and teamwork. We proudly honor Ms. Michelson as she achieves tenure, a testament to her dedication and excellence. Her passion for teaching and drive for continuous improvement will undoubtedly continue to shape her student success and enrich the Sayville High School community. Congratulations, Ms. Michelson. And Senora Tay, come on down. It is my distinct honor to celebrate Ms. Ruth Tilsley as she receives tenure in world languages. Ms. Tilsley is a truly dynamic and compassionate educator. Her classroom is a welcoming space where warmth and care create an environment where every student feels valued, understood, and encouraged to take risks. She builds strong rapport that fosters a supportive and inclusive atmosphere, empowering students to express themselves confidently in the target language. Her enthusiasm for language learning is infectious. infectious. Ms. Tilsley makes learning Spanish and French come alive with a fun, lively, and interactive atmosphere. She creatively incorporates engaging activities, sparking curiosity, and fostering a genuine love for acquiring new skills across all language levels, from beginner to advanced. Beyond the classroom, Ms. Tilsley's dedication continues to shine. As a CELA biliteracy mentor, she provides valuable guidance to students, reflecting her commitment to celebrating multilingualism. Her role as advisor to staff further highlights her dedication to developing well-rounded individuals, mentoring students to be active community leaders, and imparting essential life skills. We are incredibly fortunate to have Ms. Tilsley at Sayville High School. Her dedication and influence are invaluable, and we are confident that she will continue to grow and make a lasting, positive impact on her students and our school communities. Congratulations. Thank you.
At this time, I'd like to invite our middle school principal, Dr. Tesoro, again, or thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Congratulations. If I could please ask Erin Reimer and Melissa Lane to please join me up here. So although tonight we're receiving tenure in Sayville, both of these remarkable professionals come to us from other districts and other places with previous experience. Erin from the New York City Department of Education and Melissa from the South Huntington School District. What I've learned and figured out over these past few years is I have to be very unpopular in both of those places for you here. But I do know it is to the benefit of all of the students of Sayville and certainly at the middle school. Erin joined us as a member of our phys ed department. She has absolutely transformed what physical education looks like in our schools. She is an active coach of many sports. Actually today, I have to share this. We were having a conversation at the end of the day, and I feel like it just really captures Erin and her relationship with our students. We were standing at the bottom of the stairs, and the student came running down the stairs, and she says, "I have something for you." And she said, "What?" She starts calling it, she takes out a card. And the card, I believe, read, "What's shaken bacon? What's shaken bacon?" And gives Erin the card. And she said, "Well, what's this for? Is this for something?" And she said, "No, I was just in the store, and I saw it, and it made me think of you, and I wanted you to have it." Inside was just an absolute beautiful message. That, to me, is the impact that we have on our students. This year, Erin took over our 6th grade health program. She's absolutely, again, transformed what that looks like. It's truly special to be in the classroom with you, to see the impact that you have on children and students. I'm grateful, and I know that all of our students and families are grateful. And congratulations, you're very, very well deserved tenure this evening. So I've joked with Melissa a number of times. I'm a huge Superman fan, so the fact that I get to just call her Ms. Lane all the time, coolest thing in the world to me. Thank you, Mark. Melissa came into our social studies department in 7th grade. I feel like as a I'm a social studies teacher, I'm the principal right now. But we speak a similar language, and we must, because at some point early on in Melissa, I told her to just be awesome. Just do the things that you want to do and be awesome. And that's what she's done for the past 3 years. She has completely transformed what social studies looks like in not just our 7th grade, but it has absolutely trickled through not just her department, but through the building. You are infectious in your creativity, your love for our students, what you are able to do. Every year, our 7th grade takes an amazing trip. They participate in the beach cleanup. It's a service-based trip that Melissa was the architect of, and putting working together. It's something that our students look forward to every year, and something they have absolutely you to thank for. Aside from that, I early on in meeting Melissa kept talking about teams and being part of the team in the middle school, not just the middle school team, but this team of teachers. And she looked at me like I was absolutely insane. And that, what is this guy talking about? But you should see her now, leading her team, being a huge component and part of it, and showing really an example for all of us of what that can look like. I am so grateful, our students are so grateful, and I am so excited to see what's to come. To you both, as a principal, my principal colleagues will share, all of the administrators in the district and in fact the board. Sometimes a lot of really difficult decisions rest on our shoulders, and I just want to sit here and stand here tonight and thank you for making this one of the easiest ones I've had to make. Congratulations on the well-deserved recognition.
Our elementary principal, Dr. Foy. When we bring all the elementary principals down, Dr. Foy, behind, and Mr. Romano.
All right, this is such a privilege. So how about Miss Cameron, Miss Shore, and Miss Alvin? Come on down. It is with immense honors and enthusiasm that I stand before you all to recommend the Shannon for tenure, commencing with the 25-26 school year. Since October 22, a little ways before that, you could say so, Ms. Cameron has become an integral part of the Sunrise Drive community as a dedicated speech and language pathologist, building on her prior commitment across Sayville Public Schools. Ms. Cameron is an outstanding professional whose love for her students shines through in everything that she does. She is deeply committed to their success, ensuring that each child receives the precise support needed for them to thrive. Her ability to collaborate effectively with classroom teachers makes her a true partner in education. She is innovative, patient, and consistently seeks new strategies to engage and support students. Over the past few years, Ms. Cameron has demonstrated her true colors, particularly with our students in our special class. She has built strong relationships with the students, staff, and families, seamlessly integrating her expertise directly into the classroom. By pushing in, she fosters a truly inclusive learning environment where all students benefit. Her lessons, often incorporating social games and interactive activities, make learning both engaging and meaningful. Her dedication to inclusion and hands-on learning has left a lasting impact on our entire school. Her enthusiasm, professionalism, and unwavering commitment to student success have earned her the respect of her colleagues, students, parents, and administrators alike. She is a truly valued member of our faculty and district. It's with great pride that I recommend Ms. Shannon Cameron for tenure. She is an exceptional educator who embodies the qualities we see: dedication, collaboration, innovation, and a genuine passion for student growth. Thank you. Congratulations. Melissa Gallagher. With pride and enthusiasm, I stand before you all to recommend Ms. Melissa Gallagher for her tenure. For the past 4 years, Melissa has brought an unparalleled level of experience, passion, and dedication to our youngest learners here at Sayville, building on a teaching career that began all the way back in 2006. Melissa's contributions are truly extraordinary. She was instrumental in establishing our district's first ever UPK program, bringing this vital early learning initiative to both Sayville, Lincoln Avenue, and Sunrise Drive Elementary. Through her leadership, expertise, and unwavering commitment, she has forged a strong foundation for early childhood education, ensuring our youngest students receive the highest quality instruction and care. Beyond the classroom, Melissa serves as a mentor and leader amongst her colleagues. She's actively collaborating and sharing her vast knowledge of best practices, fostering a culture of continuous growth. As a respected member of the Curriculum Leadership Council, she's a strong advocate for our youngest learners, ensuring that their needs are met with the district's vision in mind. At Sunrise Drive, Melissa exemplifies our core values. Her classroom is a place of joyful, hands-on learning that nurtures curiosity and growth mindset. She ensures even our youngest students feel valued, respected, and capable of great things. Her impact extends far beyond the classroom. She is an active and dedicated member of our school community, bringing enthusiasm and creativity to the students of all ages at PTA and school events. Her contributions have truly enriched the culture of Sunrise Drive. For all these reasons, I wholeheartedly recommend Melissa Gallagher for her tenure. Her passion, leadership, dedication have made a lasting impact on our district, and I have no doubt that she will continue to inspire and educate for years to come. Miss Jacqueline Shore. I wholeheartedly recommend Jacqueline Shore for tenure effective the start of next school year. Ms. Shore has consistently shown unwavering commitment to student success as our reading teacher, making a profound impact on everyone at Sunrise Drive. Ms. Shore is a true advocate for her students, ensuring each child gets targeted support that they need. She is highly data-driven, using research-based practices and her own teacher-created resources to create individualized pathways for achievement. Her dedication to student growth is clear in how she tracks their progress and celebrates every milestone. A champion of children, Ms. Shore builds strong, trusting relationships, creating an environment where students feel safe and motivated. She communicates continuously with parents, partnering with them on every child's academic journey. Whether she's pushing into classrooms, leading small groups, or providing one-on-one support, her presence brings a sense of assurance. Students and teachers know her expertise leads to positive outcomes. Beyond her instructional role, Ms. Shore is a highly valued member of our community. She collaborates effectively, contributing to the school's culture of learning. Over the past 4 years, her professional growth has been remarkable, blending her classroom experience with her passion for literacy. Our reading AIS program is stronger than ever before because of her contributions. Ms. Shore's positive disposition, enthusiasm, and willingness to be involved in school-wide events truly strengthens our culture. She's a dedicated educator who consistently goes above and beyond, and it's without hesitation that I highly recommend Ms. Jacqueline Shore for tenure. Her impact on our students and school is immeasurable, and she will continue to make this long-lasting difference for years to come. I'm sure. Congratulations.
Ms. Carabelli, where are you? Come on up. Every so often, we come across an educator who not only teaches, but transforms. Someone whose impact is felt not just in their classroom, but in the lives of their students, their families, and the entire school community. Ms. Carabelli is one of those educators. Since joining Lincoln Avenue, Ms. Bailey has consistently exemplified passion, dedication, and a genuine love for children that is both rare and remarkable. Her commitment to her students' well-being and development is unwavering, and it's made her an invaluable part of our Lincoln Avenue family. Her classroom is a place where learning is joyful, curiosity is encouraged, and every child feels seen, supported, and safe. Ms. Bailey has a natural ability to connect with our youngest learners, our pre-K students, helping them build not only academic skills, but also the confidence, empathy, and love of learning that will guide them throughout their educational journey. But her work doesn't stop there. One of the qualities that truly sets Ms. Bailey apart is her exceptional communication with parents. She is an over-communicator, a captive communication. So much so that when she told me she was having a baby, which I was very happy for, and was going on leave, I was like, who's going to replace this family? She keeps her parents informed, involved, and reassured through thoughtful, consistent, and transparent communication. Time and time again, I've heard from families who sing her praises, appreciate her responsiveness, her care, and the trust she builds between home and school. And if you have a moment, go to Instagram and check out Bailey's Besties, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Beyond her class walls, Ms. Bailey plays an active and visible role in the broader life of our school. She regularly attends and supports school events, coordinates meaningful activities that bring our community together, and serves as a teacher representative on the PTA with tremendous heart and professionalism. She is a collaborative leader, a trusted colleague, and someone who always puts students first. For these reasons and so many more, I am honored to recommend Ms. Cara Bailey for tenure. She is an exceptional educator whose influence will continue to enrich the lives of our students, families, and colleagues for many years to come. We are so fortunate to have her, and I look forward to seeing all that she continues to accomplish at Lincoln Avenue. Congratulations.
Mr. Kubek, Mrs. Messing, and Mrs. Constantados. For the past 4 years, Mrs. Constantados has been teaching kindergarten. I'm always so impressed, Elena, with your energy, your enthusiasm. It just never ends. It continues as if you just walked into the classroom for the first time. So thank you for that. Never lose that. Upon entering her room, it exudes a spirit for learning and a love for the grade level. Elena loves kindergarten. Ms. Constantados is a member of the shared decision-making team. She volunteers as a science fair judge. She's also been a mentor to a student for a few years, where she's formed really close relationships with that child and has made a difference. Dedicated time with a colleague to feed those in need of the local food kitchen, supporting our Back to Basics initiative. Her creativity in making each day exciting for her students is second to none. Your involvement is so appreciated, Elena, and I look forward to the rest of your career to unfold at Sherry. Congratulations. This year, Mrs. Messing currently teaches at Cherry Avenue as well as STEAM at Lincoln Avenue. And when we told her she was also going to be a STEAM teacher split between 2 buildings, Diane just rolled up her sleeves, was flexible, and really did a dynamite job. So thank you so much for that. Upon entering Mrs. Messing's room, you can't just help but notice the creativity, the talent that it is where just out-of-the-box thinking and lesson design happens and thrives. In addition to her classroom responsibilities, Ms. Messing is actively involved in various committees and school initiatives, such as the annual art show, decorating for every child's street dinner, supporting numerous fundraisers such as Empty Bowls, Square One Art, and last minute when we had a law enforcement celebration, Ms. Messing came running in with this beautiful banner that I think you whipped up in 10 seconds. It just really made for a wonderful event. She also serves as a mentor to one of our students, really making a difference in that child's life. Congratulations on receiving tenure, and we're very lucky to continue having you at Cherry in Park. Mr. Doug Kubek. In 2016. He started as a 4th grade teacher, switched to special education before returning back to where he started. But I have to say, I think this is one of the longest roads to receiving tenure that I know of. 9 years, everyone. 9 years. On a serious note, I would be lost without Mr. Kubek. His expertise in help with RTI technology, with data team alone, has served as job security for him for sure. Mr. Kubek's rapport with students, between his sense of humor, forming tight relationships and being so well respected among all stakeholder groups has greatly benefited our Cherry Avenue family. Colleagues constantly ask to work with Mr. Kuba as he makes their jobs easier and more enjoyable. When you are around Doug Kuba, you are sure to get a little dose of sarcasm, sense of humor, things that you wouldn't expect to hear, but they all just work so well for him. Thank you, Mr. Kuba, for putting a smile on my face every day and for making my job more fun. Congratulations on receiving this well-deserved tenure.
From the screen, we're going to get a group picture of your principal. On down.
Dr. Cox.
Ms. Lane, first. Dr. Cox.
She's a nice kid.
Stay right there. Okay, Mr. Cooley, as President of the Board of Education, I would like to recommend you at this time, on the recommendation of my colleagues and the power invested by New York State, that these teachers before you are provided the tenure and voted upon. Okay, I need a motion to follow the agenda. New business personnel, tenure for administration staff, that's item 901. Item 902, tenure recommendations for instructional staff.
Motion. Motion.
Second.
Maureen, Christine, discussion? All those in favor? Against? Motion passes unanimously. As we're settling in for the rest of our meeting, a moment for that. Before, I just want to take a moment to recognize one other person in the organization. I want to congratulate one other person in the organization who has been with us for the last 3 years. One of our administrators, our assistant principal at Fifth Avenue, Mr. Scott Willis. We put the board in on Friday, principal of the school of the club. Congratulations. Okay. So for those of you who are not planning on staying for the remainder of the meeting, I'll go at the back or the side, and then we're going to continue with our regular business meeting. Thank you so much.
Congratulations. Congratulations. Amazing conversation. Congratulations. 9 years. Sorry for the torture. We never had a doubt.
I think it's right on time. It's right on time. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to continue with our regular business meeting. One of the crowd for you. Okay. So just the last part of my report is more of a procedural and just kind of business oriented. As you know, we've been working on the cell phone policy. In late May, the legislature finally passed the state budget, which included rules for cell phone policy, which requires us to come up with a policy, vote on a policy, have stakeholder groups, and then agree on everything no later than August 1st for September 1st. So they gave us plenty of time. That was sarcasm. But I want to commend Ms. DiMiola, Ms. Macris, and the committee that got together with our principals and our stakeholders today, and they've come up with kind of a plan and a proposal for a policy which we'd like you to have a first reading on next week at our board meeting on the 12th. It will be the first reading, but we'll certainly take your comments and feedback before we do that. So Amy, do you want to just give a quick update on that?
Hello. So the committee met today. The committee included stakeholders from various aspects of the district, our high school and middle school principals, Ms. Macris and I, parents, student, a teacher. So it was a widely represented group.
Fire chief.
Yes, our fire chief of the West Sayville fire department was with us as well, and he's a parent too, and he had some really terrific input. So the committee had a productive, open, thoughtful conversation, and landed on a few key pieces that would work well for our district, we believe, going forward. And a key feature would be that cell phones are to be stored in lockers from bell to bell. There were multiple options explored, options that we would certainly keep in mind for the future and variations on those options. But that seems to be the most functional method for our culture and our community right now at this time. Is there anything else that?
Yeah, sure. I think another key part that we discussed is we understand that this is a stark change, so it brings some apprehension not only on the part of the students, but also on the part of the parents who may be used to routine and regular communication with their child throughout the school day. So we also talked about as a committee constructing a very clear communication plan where if a parent needs to contact their child, the way to go about doing that and how that will happen. So we thought that that was really imperative to have a very clear, concise communication plan moving forward, just to make sure that all constituents and stakeholders feel comfortable with this new state policy.
And not only a plan for how to communicate with each other during the school day, but for us to have a really good plan as a district of how to convey nuances, FAQs, to the community well in advance, of the beginning of the school year. Yeah, I just want to add the point that, although New York State has made this a mandate, the way the districts implement it, there is some leeway in there, and this is a policy and one that can be revisited and changed, and that we do have to give it its due diligence, that once we put in place a policy, there will be some growing pains and there'll be some, kinks to work out. We need to give it enough time for that to happen, but that as a committee, we sort of agreed that sometime after we've done that, maybe December, right before or after the holidays, that we reconvene as a committee and we look at where we've gotten and whether that policy needs to be revisited, adjusted, or revamped, so that we keep in, we get the input that we need, we allow the highs and the lows and the kinks to get worked out, and then we decide whether we're going in the right direction or if we need to change direction within the parameters of the law.
And I think it's important to note that we had a system that we really liked. We had the pouches on the door for each class, and that was working well for us. And so we wouldn't have chosen to change that, except the state mandated that that is not acceptable. And so it has to be from the moment they enter the building to the moment they leave, that those cell phones are away and stored somewhere. So, we're not doing this because we wanted to. We're doing this because it was required of us, and we had to come up with something new. So we're going to communicate that to the community and how we're going to do that. And I do think, as Ms. Macris said, it's going to be hard for kids and their parents and the teachers to get used to when many of our parents are used to communicating with their children throughout the day for a variety of things. And we want to try to figure out a way to make sure that people feel comfortable with that. So you'll get a first read on that on the 12th.
Will the policy contain also the options for a pathway for parents to be able to speak to their children, or will it just incorporate the cell phone?
Yeah, so the law specifies that there's got to be at least two different ways that parents can communicate with their students. So the policy will have that in there. And do you want to? Sorry, at least one. Sorry.
Now we don't have email either.
Right. We talked today about Parent Square and how it has a messaging feature for Student Square and Parent Square. So that might be with the Chromebooks, a way that communication can stay. You want to speak to that?
Yeah, I think too, it's important to note just briefly the science behind, obviously phones, they're a part of our everyday life, the adults too. We can't excuse ourselves from this conversation. We're tied to our phones as well. But there is the science behind the many detrimental effects of the cell phone. So while this may be hard at the beginning, like Ms. Sarni said, I think that we'll also see a lot of positives to it. And it'll be interesting to hear about those positive effects from our students and how they feel, not just, we don't want to just focus on negative and how we're going to get through it, but what are the benefits of this going to be as well?
Absolutely.
I agree. I think it's important that we're doing this. I think even my own children, they're both in the high school, like I will communicate with them, who's picking you up, what times, are you done? Like it could be a simple thing of that, or it could be, there could be a student that's like having a crisis or something. Obviously they'd be able to seek out help from a teacher or whatever, but I do think there should be some way for them to communicate for, life is busy and I know I'm always running around everywhere and I do need to be able to be like, I'm picking you up at this time, I'll see, whatever.
Yeah. And I think maybe finally, there are some exemptions. So we do have students who use their phones for medical needs, and that's coordinated through the nurse's office. Yes. So when there are certain exemptions like that with the doctor's note or medical, like our students that are diabetic, they can still use the phone for those purposes. And those are other things that we're going to have to outline.
Okay, thank you.
I was, but it's okay.
I think one thing that we can do to help the committee when they come back and they reconvene in December is to make sure that we have solid quantitative data from previous years in relation to bullying and all the things that we're targeting to decrease and lessen, so that we have something concrete to compare it to when they convene in December to see if our policy, where it needs to be worked on. So I think that's important. I think we need to do that. Other than that.
Good point.
The law does have some requirement of keeping data. Obviously, it's from this point going forward, but there is some data that has to go along with it. I don't know the ability of us to, what our data looked like before, but I know that this law now requires it, so we should have something to base it on.
Just talk. I think, it's good just to remind people and remind ourselves, what is this problem being developed to address? I mean, because, we're experiencing an adolescent mental health crisis. Anxiety disorders in terms of statistics, 1 in 12 children are affected by an anxiety disorder, 1 in 4 adolescents. And I think this works towards that goal. I think for me is what would be helpful is I would like to know about the strategies to get student buy-in. I think having presided over a school where self-use was out of control, like for me, one of the important things that we did, we just had a lot of conversations with kids saying this is, I brought in, it was a small school, very different from what we experienced in our schools. 15 kids and said, it's getting in the way. So like asking for their leadership in implementing it, saying you guys can be role models and helping us, and I think having that kind of discussion with kids, about how does this undermine our mental health? Like, what are you seeing? Because I think kids get it. I think kids will buy in. I think just giving them the opportunity to be leaders in it and asking for their ideas about how to get people to buy in would be just smart, and it's, this is a huge problem.
Well, thankfully, we already have established committees. Mr. Hart and I are co-chairing our high school advisory committee this year. There's about 30 high school participants. I know Dr. Cox has his athletic committee. We have a superintendent's roundtable. So we already have established committees within the district that this has been a topic of conversation at the high school advisory committee. It will continue to be, and I think that's part of the 8-week check-in. Of course, the student voice is one of the most important in this area, and we have the committees already established, and we can just utilize them in this way.
What are they thinking of, like in terms of what are some focal points, I guess?
I think it really varies from the students. Like some students will just say they don't like it, they don't want to do it. Other students were more concerned about how their parents would get in contact with them, a safety issue. And then there are other kids that said, I welcome it and it'll be a nice break. So it's really a range. That's what's hard about the committees too, because it's a representation of the student body, but every child is unique and has a unique experience. So it's difficult to always get, everyone's opinion, but I think it ranged. It ranged.
Yeah, I also think that it's important to realize that we've had a bell-to-bell ban up through middle school, and it's not until they come into the high school that there was the pouch system, and Sayville is really ahead of a lot of districts in having implemented that, So I think that like the 8th graders are going to come next year as 9th graders, not knowing that, there is a difference. So we'll have grades 10, 11, 12, and then kind of as the years go on, it just is an extension of what they were used to. But there was a parent, a very strong advocate of when they get to the high school level, they're involved in so many things, especially after school, that being able to have that, hey, where am I picking you up? Where am I driving you to? Communication is important. And there was a lot of time spent on that, which I'm sure you'll iron out before we get into our next meeting. So
I guess for me is I have zero concerns about our ability to get kids to kind of embrace it eventually, enthusiastically. I guess it's more like this, this is a legit learning opportunity to talk about these issues. I think that practice alone has such value, and that's part of what we've been doing for years. Actually, this is a good thing. It's painful, it's a change, but definitely, without question, a good thing.
Okay. So that concludes my report, and now we go to the board report. Okay, the first topic we have is field use topic.
Okay, so the field usage is what I had brought up about our local youth leagues being charged to use the field, not a use fee, because if you're a tax exempt, you don't get charged a usage fee, but the fee was coming from having to pay for custodians for a half hour before the entire duration and then a half hour after, which was becoming exorbitant and not sustainable for the youth leagues, thus more or less barring our local youth leagues from being able to use the turf field, which is sad. And so I've been reviewing the board policy on this. Ms. Vaccaro and Dr. Ferris had sent it to me. I reviewed it. And one of the more interesting things is within the board policy itself, I'm sorry, I should rewind. What we were always being told was that we needed these people there for the bathrooms, to open the bathrooms and to maintain them. But the word bathroom is nowhere in the policy at all. There's no mention of bathrooms anywhere. There's only mention of if a custodian or grounds person is needed. So I think that when we convene over the summer perhaps, and when we look at policy, that this can maybe be amended and changed so that going forward, these programs aren't being charged, and we don't have to have second graders and third graders having games on Sunrise Drive when we have this beautiful turf field that's not being used at all. So.
Yeah, but, I mean, as I mentioned before, the concern with the turf field is overusage.
Yeah, I don't think that's a concern. Those things are built for that.
No, I mean, we just reskinned the whole field.
Yeah, well, listen, because of non-disclosure agreements, I won't say why we resurfaced that field, but that has nothing to do with the usage. Those things are built for that. They're built to be used, and 20 second grade lacrosse games and 20 youth football games is not going to be overuse of the field. I don't think that's a reason to stop these kids whose parents pay taxes in the district to not use the facilities that we have.
So I just want to recommend that, currently, in the past, we used to have a policy committee.
Yeah.
And then that kind of stopped operating, and I had been talking about it with a couple of people about reinstating the policy committee. And then when we talk about policies, you have a subcommittee, a couple board members, a couple community members, a couple teachers, a couple administrators, and then whoever's relevant to the topic at a meeting related to that topic. So for example, our buildings and grounds team, I would want to have in that conversation, because I do think there's a need for custodians when events occur at different places, whether it's in a building or at a field. Turf is different than field, grass. High school programs are different than elementary programs. So I would want to have, and I think it's a good thing to do this, just have routine meetings of the policy committee, and this can be one of the first items in addition to other items that kind of get discussed with the proper people in the room.
Absolutely.
So we could kind of come up with something that we feel works and then submit that to the board for review. Does that sound?
That sounds good to me. Thank you.
Perfect.
Okay, any other on that topic? Okay, the next topic we have is elementary special areas.
Yeah, that's me again, sorry. So this was brought up by a bunch of community members throughout meetings, and to be more specific about it, it is the elementary special areas when the special ed special classes are being integrated with gen ed classes in specials. And I know some people, there were at least 3 that I remember, I don't want to call them by name, but there were 3 people that came up and spoke, and they spoke pretty passionately about it at board meetings. And I just want to make sure that this is a topic that we don't forget about, and that we keep on the forefront, because it is important that the special ed kids are integrated in specials with the gen ed kids. I think it's huge for socialization skills. They need the positive peer role models, but at the same time, the teachers need to be supported properly. And so I think if we can just find the happy medium in between there, I just wanted to make sure that this wasn't something that was talked about during budget time and came up, and that we forgot about it. So I just wanted to make sure that it got brought up today. I know Mark and I have spoken. I've spoken to some building principals, and I just think if we can put together a stakeholder group of parents, teachers. I know it would be, possibly scheduling, so the principals would probably have to be there as well.
Yeah.
But whoever needed to be there just to, try to, listen, every decision we make is what's best for the kids, right? And this is what's best for the kids. But if the teachers are being overwhelmed, then that becomes not what's best for the kids. So we have to.
I can tell you, and I know Ms. Mack is going to jump in. Let me just start, and then you can jump in. We have an absolutely outstanding special education department. We have an outstanding group of building principals. I have full confidence in them to work over, as they always do in the summer, to organize the specials and make sure it's a good experience for the students. I don't think we need a committee to discuss what we already believe in and have up and running, which is really effective support for teachers and programs. But I want to add, what Jillian can speak to that as well.
Yeah, so just to answer your question directly, we haven't forgotten about it. Just as earlier today, Mr. Romano, Dr. Foy, and I, we got together and we were talking about it. We're keeping a close eye on the numbers. Like you too, we are concerned with some of the class size numbers, but we're committed to finding a solution. We've already thrown out some solutions today. Obviously, with Ms. Giganti and Ms. Lauriston, we have some ideas, and we're working collaboratively. But it was a discussion as recent as earlier today, and I just want to thank both Mr. Romano and Dr. Foy because they're being creative with the decision making. So it's on the radar.
Yeah, it's great.
Good.
Awesome.
Okay, the next item we have is the claims order report.
Before you get to that, we had one other item just that we wanted to update you. You're going to be looking at a first read tonight on the student ex officio position, where a member of the high school will sit on the Board of Education. That was a regulation that was passed earlier in the year and that we had been working on. I just wanted to have Amy give an update just on where we are with that, and then the board can comment or give any feedback before we do a first read.
So with this policy, we also met, several board members and I got together, we reviewed the suggested language from NISBA and really worked through some of the finer points to make sure that the experience was a really engaging learning experience for students and for the student participant each year, and as well for to rise it to a level of importance from a standpoint of community service and from participation in local government. And so we amended some of the wording to just really illuminate that level of importance. So after consultation with our principal and our building as well, and the input that they gave, we'll be recommending that we have a student participant who is an elected member from the incoming senior class, and that they participate in public sessions. They wouldn't be a voting member of the board, of course, but that would be, serving for a one-year term, and other details that you'll see when you read through the policy. And we're really excited. I think it's going to be a really productive and welcome member to the weekly conversation for the terrific purposes of bringing student perspective to the important issues that you all vote on, and bringing an exchange of information between the students and the community.
I mean, my comment on it is I think it will remind us what we're all here for, as for the students. So I think that would be a good effect of this policy.
Anyone else? Okay. All right.
Okay, so then the last item I had on the agenda was the claims order report. Any questions about that? Everything was in order, basically. Okay, and then I'll move on to public comment for items that we're voting on tonight. Does anybody want to make some public comments? Raise their hand. Okay, And then I'll move on to recommended actions minutes. I need a motion for item 701 through new business and new business, let's see, new business other 1002, but excluding new business personnel 901 and 902 because we already voted on
May I ask a question?
that. First, have a motion. We
Okay,
don't
I'll
discuss
take a
it.
motion.
Second.
Kathy and Maureen.
Okay, Kathy, Maureen, first and second, discussion?
Number 810, the fixed assets for disposal.
Yes.
Okay, so it's this, I think it's like 8 pages of items. Thanks, 8 pages of computer desktops, monitors, whiteboards, laptops, which just. So what are we doing with these?
So every 5 years, we have a physical inventory of our fixed assets, and that was conducted for the 23-24 year. As an output of that physical inventory, we, in the past, have been given exception reports. So they go around CBIZ to each of our buildings, and they take a physical inventory, and there are asset tags on items, and they work with the current inventory of our fixed assets. And oftentimes, things are either moved, so they're not in the location that they're indicated, or they no longer are there. And these exception reports are given to us prior to the end of the audit, and we go through them and ask the questions. We begged and pleaded for that. It came in December of 2024. And it's been a long process that is handled through the business office. In particular, I want to give kudos to Elena Costello because she puts a lot of effort into this. She had reached out to each of the department heads with the exceptions and waited, and each of them have now confirmed back the status of those assets. Sometimes what has happened in the past, things were disposed of, but they were either never just physically disposed of, or sometimes they were never taken off of the inventory. So this is the representation of a lot of work and cleanup with regard to our fixed assets. And especially in IT, it's pages and pages of assets that are there. So it's a schedule that was confirmed by each of the department heads, and that was provided to the Board of Ed.
Right, so my question is, this is an inordinate amount of devices here, so they can't all be gone, what are we doing with them?
Aren't they usually obsolete?
So they're either obsolete or they're not in existence. And this was all verified through the department head. So we have feedback from each of those department heads that these assets are not, that they need to be disposed of.
So if a large number of these just couldn't be found, then we have some problem. This is pages upon pages.
Absolutely.
This is not okay. This is not okay. It's whiteboards, interactive, laptops, computer, desktop, monitor.
In the case of the whiteboards and monitors, that's hard fixed items. A lot of those are just obsolete. They're not. But then there are other items that do not exist from.
Do we have any items that we could see if another school district can utilize? Everyone doesn't have all that we have.
I believe a lot of those items are not even in existence. But this is a formality to physically take them off of our physical fixed asset inventory. You can see the dates. They're very, very old.
Is there a way to distinguish between ones that are obsolete and ones that are gone?
That would have to be information provided by the department heads.
We could get that. Yeah.
And then also what you'll see is a separate resolution, and as part of, we have some roofs on our buildings that actually still had depreciation being taken on them. However, we just did all new roofs, so fixed assets are booked at historical cost. So we have assets that are for financial statement purposes and then those that are for insurance purposes. So for insurance purposes, we shouldn't be insuring a roof that still was being depreciated because 30 or 50 years was selected as the year of life when we've just put a new roof on. So we've taken the old roofs off and the new ones are going on. It's representative of a lot of cleanup and months of work. But we're hoping that this inventory is more representative of what our fixed assets are.
Okay, any additional discussion?
I had some. So the stipulation of agreement for this asset MOA, can you just, I might be reading it wrong, but we're like taking off some things, adding some things. And one of the things, one of the titles that we're adding is the assistant principal of elementary education. Am I just reading that?
Can I see that?
Yeah.
Sure.
Here. Unless I. It's like the, do you see where it says add and take away? Add the following titles to the clause. Page 2.
Page 2.
B, yes, number 9, subsection B, subsection 5.
Okay, yes, we had that as a position, it's a vacated position at this point, but it should.
It should not be under deleted.
I mean, it's there, but it's not going to be utilized.
It's not utilized, so it's not a filled position, but it exists in this version of the contract. But there is nobody in the position, there's not a position.
It just seemed like.
If ever you would want to have an assistant principal for elementary, it would be there as an existing position, but you never have to fill it.
Okay, thank you. The other thing I just want to point out is the Suffolk Transportation Services donating $1,000 scholarship to us, which is really nice. But in addition to that, they're also giving us another $3,000 to, in recognition of all our fall champion teams from the section 11 teams that won the championship. So they're giving us a $4,000, which is really nice.
Yeah, and I want to comment that
this cherry on top.
The Suffolk Transportation has been a really good partner with us, and they're also working with us to try to reduce our bus routes as well. So that we're looking forward to that.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention also, obviously we're approving some hirings that we did, but one of the things we're approving is some of our volunteer coaches for the fall, and we always want to give them thanks because it's a whole lot of time and effort that they give to our students.
Okay. So, any further discussion? All those in favor? Against? Motion passes.
And with that motion, I just want to recognize Mr. Robert Bartels, who's with us tonight over there. Mr. Bartels will be serving as our interim assistant superintendent for business and personnel. He comes to us from the Rockville Center School District with over 24 years of experience as the assistant superintendent for business and personnel in Rockville Center. He was also the interim superintendent in Rockville Center during COVID when their superintendent left and took over for about a year, and has 32 years of experience in business and personnel. And we're really looking forward to him joining us and bringing his expertise as we prepare for our fiscal success in the future moving forward. So I just want to welcome to Sayville, Mr. Bartels. It's a green button.
Is it battery gun?
No.
You can only use it if,
That's
it'll work here if you can figure it out.
Okay.
Just talk loud.
Thank you, Dr. Harris. great night with stories and achievements. It's always great to hear that, teachers, students, and everything. I'm looking forward to coming to Sayville and working, sharing my experience. Looking forward to transitioning with Rhonda, building on different things that she's done here in the district, and continuing the excellence in Sayville schools.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. The next item I have is dates coming up. Okay, so we have tomorrow schools are closed for Eid. Okay, schools are closed. And then we have on June 10th, all district elementary school band and orchestra concert, 7 p.m. at the middle school. And then on June 12th, we have Board of Education meeting at 7:30 at the middle school. Okay, and then with that, I need a motion okay, last public comment session. Is there anybody who would like to make a comment? Please raise their hand. Okay, with that, I would say good night. I need a motion to move into exec session.
Motion.
Personnel. Second?
Second.
Okay, Kelly and Christine. Discussion? All those in favor? Against, motion passes. We'll be going into exec session. Thank you very much. Everybody have a good night.
Thank
Have a good night.
you.